Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord as we take a look at the astrological energies from November 18th through November 25th. Over the next week, the Sun enters Sagittarius and Venus moves into Scorpio. We'll be talking about the energies that are coming up as we move through the second half of November and what is pushing us forward, requiring us to move forward, ready or not. We have some interesting energies as the end of Scorpio season can be quite intense. It can really show us more of ourselves, more of our own potential. It's been untapped. It's emotional energy that's been stuck or frozen. Parts of your experience that you haven't seen before. There could also be reoccurring fears. But all of this is actually designed to make you more conscious, to elevate you, to awaken you to more of your untapped power. It also awakens you to more of your untapped light, because anything that is introduced into your awareness that comes up for you to feel, to see, to think about, to understand, is showing you more of what's in your energy field, what has the potential to be transformed into a higher expression, but it does require a process. It can feel like we've been moving through deep emotional processes because of Mercury's journey through Scorpio. Due to the retrograde energies, Mercury is still in Scorpio and will continue into Scorpio into the beginning of December. Mercury will enter Sagittarius December 1st or 2nd, depending on your time zone. So we do have more Scorpio energies unfolding, including Venus entering Scorpio. So it's a very interesting time because there's something that is maturing us. There's a requirement here to really stand and listen to an emotional truth, something within you that maybe you didn't hear before, or feel before, or understand in your life before. Part of our spiritual journeys is to keep staying open, to stay open to what we're learning and understanding, to stay open to your shadow self, your unconscious self, to stay open to how we never truly know it all, but we're continually learning, growing, developing, evolving. And this can help with our own expectations because there's also this energy in Scorpio season. It's like it stirs up the bottom of the pot. It stirs up what has been down there, sort of those bottom layers that are really uncomfortable. And it's requiring us to understand that we're here to love and accept all of ourselves. Even when that is hard or trying or difficult, we're here to understand more of ourselves because not only do we have these parts of our energies, we came in with huge amounts of wisdom, brilliance, intelligence, the openings to higher planes of understanding. All of that is supported in this lifetime, but we're also very human and we can have some very human moments. And I don't know about you, but the beginning of this past week was incredibly intense. A lot of emotions coming up for me, a lot of stuff that I didn't even know was there. So I share this with you because I do this work too. And I am walking this path and learning from it. And I feel like that's important to know is that part of this experience is to really appreciate the human aspects of ourselves, even when we can tap into higher understandings and have a level of knowledge that helps us navigate it. We still have to go through a process. And I feel like this is actually where we can also be grounded in our bodies, grounded in what we need to remember in terms of being gentle with ourselves, when to give ourselves a pass or a break, when to also be softer on our own hearts. It's also important to check in with your ego because I have encountered people who have a big spiritual ego who believe they know it all and they have all the answers. And in fact, they have your answers. But really, you have your answers. You know your experience. You know your energy. You know more as you voyage forward. And a lot of what is rising up on the planet right now is these higher levels of awakening that remind us to embrace our own journey, our own process, our own experience, and to allow that to be a place of self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-forgiveness, self-love, while also calling in your higher self, your soul's wisdom, the perspectives that can be very empowering at this time, and to remember that this is an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing experience. One of my great spiritual teachers told me a few decades ago that you'll probably understand and know most of what's happened in your life just moments before you transition. And that really stuck out to me. So I offer that, and maybe that resonates with you, maybe not. But it's the understanding that we're continually learning and we're taking in and experiencing different energies. And that right before we leave our physical body or physical self is when we can have a bigger understanding of it all. And that's why there have been books written on this topic. That's why there are things that we have to remember that keep us humble, that keep us in our human form, that keep us connected to our everyday experiences without needing to know everything right now. So I share this with the intention of moving through Scorpio season into Sagittarius season with an understanding of how you can open up to the experiences that you're having without going into an unhealthy place in your ego. And I'm bringing this up because I've seen this happen. And there's like this barrier that people will put up. And it's an energetic barrier. It feels very mental. It feels almost like there's this superiority complex that comes forward. And it starts to surround their aura. And it can be quite repelling, in fact. And this is the lower vibrations of Sagittarius. This is the energy of even judgment, of even like right or wrong, and that there's different belief systems that are more superior than others, and this can be the ivory tower syndrome. What we want to be aware of in this particular energy is responsibility for yourself. And where that is strongly supported is in how this year has revealed to you your own energy, what's happening at all layers of your energy, what's happening in your physical world, your internal world, your emotional world, everything, even your financial world, etc. There's been big reality checks about the state of our lives. And this is where we are being required to take responsibility for everything. And then from that place of responsibility, you've entered into the energy of acceptance. And from there, you have a new beginning point of what to decide and choose next. There is a seriousness to the energy right now, and it's the seriousness of Capricorn. Yes, we're still talking about Capricorn planets. We actually have one more month of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn, and then they both transition into Aquarius, which is a very zesty energy. It has a lot more excitement. It has a lot more energy to it. There's a sense of new possibilities. What's next? What is opening up going forward? But over this next month, as we enter Sagittarius season, there is a desire to learn and grow, to expand, to see things from a higher vantage point, perhaps to look at your ideologies and your philosophies about the world and what resonates with you, what is your truth at this time in your journey. But the sun in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is still in Capricorn, traveling with Saturn in Capricorn, and this is the continuation of responsibility, the continuation of the things you have to complete and look at, the things you need to take care of. And so as much as you could be ready to let loose and have some freedom and throw off any chains that bind you, there is still a seriousness over the next month that we have to tend to. And what it feels like is that as the sun moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius, and as we have Venus entering Scorpio on November 21st, while also moving through Mercury in Scorpio, there is still an underlining intensity to our lives that can be uncomfortable. There can be a sense of there's things you have to do, and you know you have to do them, or there's the commitments you've made or obligations or things that are in front of you that you have to take care of. And there can be a feeling of exhaustion from it all, of just needing a break, needing to step away, needing to have some relief. A heaviness, a burden, a sense of I'm carrying a lot right now and I'm still not certain about something. This is what is happening at this time, and it feels like it is going to shift, but this is where it's important to keep pacing yourself. Pace yourself accordingly, adjust your expectations accordingly, and know that there are some energy cycles coming through that are bigger than us, that we can only ride these waves. It's almost like it can feel futile to work against the energy. But the good news is that the sun in Scorpio is going to connect with Saturn in Capricorn on November 19th. And this is stabilizing. The interesting mix right now is the strong earth and the strong water. When we have the earth and water energies working together, think of a container holding water. Think of the earth energy as that container, and then the water signs obviously is the water. And so when there is this understanding of how the energies can be harmonious together, it can help you make the most of the current energies. Even though the sun moves into Sag, we're still going to have Venus and Mercury in Scorpio, and there's still going to be 4 planets in earth signs. The 3 planets in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and then Uranus in Taurus. So if you can look at what you're needing to safely contain, safely work through, safely feel, that could be a good visual for anything that's coming up, anything that's being stirred up, any emotional parts of yourself, any turmoil, any wounding, anything that you need to move through. Know that it is a good time to honor these parts of yourself, because the earth energies are able to provide a space. And you could think of it as a sacred space or whatever feels best for you. But there is something about, again, the energy of responsibility and making sure that you are responsibly tending to yourself, to what's coming up for you, and that you know you have the power to work through it, the power within you to handle the fears, the emotions, the healing, the process, the trauma, whatever. And this is all Scorpio stuff with Mercury and Venus in Scorpio together. So Venus enters Scorpio on November 21st. And when Venus goes into Scorpio, she's actually in her detriment, meaning she's the furthest away from one of her home signs of Taurus. And so she's far away from her home turf, and she can feel a lot in Scorpio. And in fact, there can be confusion around what is truly hers and what is not. Because Scorpio energy is what we have taken on from other people. It's what we have felt. It's what we have experienced. Scorpio is where energies merge, and it's where we share. We share personally and deeply, energetically and emotionally. However, for most of our lives, this can be very unconscious. It's where when you were younger, 6, 7, 8, and you were taking on the energy in the environment you were living in, or you were feeling the emotional energy coming from a parent, coming from a sibling. This is where we can be unconsciously programmed, and then it's when we mature and we move into adulthood that we start to see more of these parts of ourselves as we are embarking on our own healing or just raising awareness about yourself. Scorpio is what you have taken on from others. So there's an energy here that you're still feeling intensely that can bring up fears. And as these fears, doubts, emotions, etc. come up and come through, it could be advantageous to see them in a safe container of some sort. Again, that earth energy, because that can help you process, feel, heal, and move through something, knowing that it's okay to do so. And so this is still deep, intense energies. And I feel like after that Scorpio new moon that we just had on November 14th and 15th, it's almost like it unleashed something that was maybe frozen in you or unconscious or pushed down, sort of like a French press coffee maker where the parts of yourself were submerged, and then this Scorpio new moon opened things up. Same with Mars stationing direct at 15 degrees of Aries, and it opened up whatever has been held back. So there was this flood of energy that came through, and it has to get worked out, and that can take time, but it also requires responsibility on your part, responsibility for what you can heal and see in yourself. So again, the Scorpio energies, they really don't give us much peace. They don't give us that until we work through them. And then you have a sense of rising power, a higher wisdom, a higher truth, a higher understanding of who you are and the energies that are correct for you, that are healthy for you. Scorpio has the ability to transform what is unhealthy into a healthy expression, but this requires doing work and really being aware that you always travel with your power, but that usually isn't the first thing that you feel when you meet these fears or these unconscious parts of yourself. I've also observed through the years that the end of every water sign is when we can start to feel a bit soggy, even more emotional. It's where you can just be in the deeper end of the ocean. And after every water sign, there is a fire sign. And so you get out of that deep end of the pool and you look for warmth. You look for the sun, that warm, cozy towel. You want to dry off and you want to feel inspired to move ahead based on what you learned in that deep end of the pool or that deep end of the ocean. So the fire signs help us restore ourselves. There is a restoration process, and the fire signs also bring in the sense of healthy self, healthy ego, healthy confidence, healthy strength that gives us motivation to move forward. So this is part of the transition of the sun moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius, is that you get some of your fire back. You get a sense of, this is what matters to me. This is where I'm going. This is what I want next. There's also a beautiful transition from Scorpio to Sagittarius energies where Scorpio does give us the understanding of emotional truth, something that is clearer for you. And it tends to be something that you maybe can't always put into words, but you understand it at a very deep level of your being. Scorpio takes us into those soul memories that we've carried for lifetimes. And we dig in and we get to something new and we find a piece of gold. And that's very, very valuable. Then as we move into Sagittarius, there's an energy of, this supports my current truth. This supports what I've learned, what I've experienced. This supports my wisdom about myself and my journey, where I want to go next. It also supports a higher understanding of my soul's journey. So both Scorpio and Sagittarius have the ability to support your truth, and that type of energy creates our belief systems, which is part of Sagittarius. So there's this energy now of, what have you learned that is helping you formulate a higher truth or a higher belief system about yourself right now? And that's truly all that we're really needing to do, is stay in the present moment, because as we journey through life, our truths change. Our belief systems tend to change. That, of course, depends on your energy, your preferences, and what you choose. But there is an evolution of truth. There's an evolution of belief systems throughout our lives. And the higher octaves of Sagittarius keep inviting us forward, keep moving us forward. So we're going to have some new realizations here around what these truths are for you, as the Sun is in Sagittarius and Mercury and Venus are in Scorpio. The other part of this energy that is supporting you right now is understanding more of who you are, what you need, and how you feel, and opening up some of these untapped parts of yourself where perhaps it didn't feel safe to do so before. It didn't feel like you had a safe container or a safe space to feel something, to understand it, or to go deeper. The more that you can honor this energy for yourself and trust it, the more you can trust your feelings right now, the more you're going to be clearing your energy field, clearing out emotions that maybe have been frozen at a cellular level. And actually, that's what I'm seeing is some cells that are ice. They've been on ice, and they have trapped feelings, emotions, energies that haven't had a safe place to open up, to release, to thaw. And there is energy right now that allows us to do this, again, in a very responsible manner. And the visual I'm getting around this is not only the cells that are frozen, but it's almost like if you were to take the frozen energies and to put it into a safe container that has water in it, it will naturally thaw. It will naturally open up. And there's something about this time on our planet, literally this year, where we're meant to release these deeper emotional imprints that we've been holding on for so long. And it actually reminds me of a book I wrote, The Unlimited Sparks of a Bonfire. And I realize I don't talk about my books very much, but this book is about 7 different past life stories and different themes in each past life. And so it's 7 short stories, and at the end of each short story, there's different spiritual teachings. And all of these stories were channeled through me. And the characters presented themselves to me as having a story that needed to be told. And so it came through for a few years, and I loved writing this book. I absolutely loved it. And of course, it's because part of it's connected to my own soul stories and lifetimes. But there's energies here that are universal, that we have frozen around love, around family, around feminine energy and masculine energy, around what we feel is accepted or not accepted. There's other energies that we also have that are frozen that are very high vibrational. There's energies of love, abundance, connection that are also part of our soul stories and part of who we are that we can forget about because we get so focused on the healing work or the trauma or the abuse or what we need to go through. But what I was shown through this book was that we also have the energies of very deep love, connection, belonging, acceptance, that we've experienced through very joyful lifetimes. And we don't tend to remember those lifetimes because they don't require the same level of work. But part of what this book taught me was how we integrate those energies as well, that we don't only focus on the healing work that's required, but we also remember the times when we had very deep love and connection with someone, when we had a sense of being home with family, with loved ones, that these are also part of our soul memories, and these also get frozen. And we have to de-thaw these energies within ourselves to awaken them and to remember what that feels like. And so I'm feeling like this is part of the gifts of this time, is that not only are these energies very intense, and yes, 2020 has been very big and we've all had life changes, world changes, we also now have access to a deeper remembering of the peace, joy, love that we felt and created here as well. and to ensure that you're bringing that energy forward for yourself, that you're activating that in yourself, that's also part of your safe container where you're allowing those energies to be present for you now, and you're also recognizing them in yourself. And as I say all this, they're showing me that that's part of this merging, that actually what you're merging, you can think of it as merging shadow and light, dark and light. You can think of it as merging masculine and feminine, merging even the abuse and trauma with unconditional love and total self-acceptance at a soul level. All of the merging that is possible during these Scorpio energies can be deeply, deeply healing. And so that's part of what is being de-thawed, is almost like you call forward that higher energy that you have most likely known in other lifetimes, other timelines. And then they're also showing me on other planets, because there's other planets that don't have the emotional spectrum of Earth, that don't require us to move through these spirals of energies, that don't have the vibration of fear, hate, trauma, abuse. It doesn't have those energy signatures on other planets. And if you feel like you have been on other planets or experienced other energetic paradigms, then that could also strongly resonate and help balance your energy, as well as merge together more of this fullness of who you are. That can be really helpful when we're undergoing deep energy changes and we're moving through a very intense process, is to remember that you have other fragments of energy that are available to you when you decide to access them or to tap into them. Whatever you're moving through right now, call in more support from other energetic sources and just trust what that is for you. Trust what feels right. Trust the messages that come through, even if it sounds wildly absurd at first, even if you get a download or a message about energies from another planet or another place, or even a specific place on this planet. Trust that that is something that can support you. And so many of you are very advanced in your spiritual knowledge and understandings. You've been around many blocks, you've been on many rodeos, and you have a lot of tools. And what they're saying is that there is a remembrance here of the energy tools that you can work with, and to allow that to keep expanding you, to allow this energy as we enter Sagittarius season to help you to grow forward and to stay open to higher knowledge coming through, as well as more cosmic perspectives. We are also in an energetic building phase. Since the November 14th, 15th Scorpio new moon, we're now building up to the Gemini Lunar Eclipse on November 30th. And I just put this video on YouTube for you to check out the chart and look at how this upcoming eclipse is a time of soul growth choice point. Because there are times in our lives when we're making choices that really determine the next trajectory, the next direction that we go. And this is a time of understanding not only your own truth right now and what you've been through in this lifetime and other lifetimes, but there are openings here to either a higher choice or a comfort zone choice. And so we're getting clearer on what you need in order to live a truly satisfying, fulfilling life that corresponds with your soul purpose, your soul mission, your soul work, that corresponds with a passion, that corresponds with what you're wanting to embark on next, the next adventure, the next opening of manifestations. But as we've been discussing, there is an intensity right now in the energies, and it can feel murky or uncertain, but the energy is building to greater clarity. It's building to some kind of inspired decision that helps you remember your power. Remember that what you came in with is all access to your light, to your soul's energy, and that if you were to truly trust that, to truly, truly trust that you're not alone, that you can believe in yourself, that you can have faith in what is calling you forward, that the call of your soul is not a wrong number. It's truly something you can trust and follow. That is where you're going to have the higher manifestations, the truer manifestations, and all of that is going to support living a really satisfying life. So we're building up to this Gemini lunar eclipse, and we're looking at what we can create and experience next that is probably brand new for you in your lifetime. And that's why it can be scary. And that's why it can feel like a big risk, or that you're really putting yourself out there, or you don't know how this is going to show up or how the path is going to come together. But it is going to come together because both Jupiter and Saturn moving into Aquarius in the middle of December, it's bringing in these new, I'm seeing it as a yellow brick road. It's bringing in these new understandings of what you're ready to put together and create that wasn't available before. That was always, it's about the timing. That's one thing that astrology reminds us of. It is about the timing. And so with Saturn and Jupiter, both in Aquarius, laying down these new bricks, it's like this new path that, again, it wasn't available before. It supports entering into new dreams, new potentials, but I feel it as an energetic paradigm shift. I feel it as this, it's almost like a portal. It's a portal of openings into what can be developed in your life, and it just wasn't time before. Saturn is the timekeeper. And so when Saturn changes signs, Saturn says, now it is time to focus on this, build here, develop this, put your energy and effort into this part of your life. And in Aquarius, it's an interesting theme of individuation, how you are uniquely and energetically designed to be authentically you, and how you are then here to contribute to the world at large because of your uniqueness. Because it's okay to break away from the pack or the group, but understand that that's exactly the best gift you can offer, is that then you come back and you're able to share and contribute based on who you uniquely are. So there's something that's really been brewing and really coming forward. But because the energies of 2020 have been so serious, we probably have lost track of some parts of ourselves simply because we've had to focus on the tasks at hand, the changes in our lives, the changes in our world. But what I'm feeling is that it's almost like those fragmented parts of you that maybe got broken off, they are coming back together to create and form a different whole, a different puzzle, or a different vision for the future and where you want to go next. So know that that's part of what's changing in a month. And so that's also why there can be this energy that's pushing you forward, that's asking you to try something new, take a risk, go for it, because I feel like there's going to be the yellow brick road there for you to embark on. And in fact, it's needed. It's almost like this requirement from the universe to go your own way, to follow something that supports who you uniquely are, because there needs to be energy put towards the new earth and the next energies that are best for humanity. And on that note, I am going to have an extra episode for you on Friday. That will be Friday, November 20th. That is channeled messages. I felt this energy come through, and I recorded an episode for you on these messages about the current energies on the planet. I received a lot of visuals and some downloads about what's happening right now. I did ask about the presidential election energies because I am a nosy Nelly and I want to know what's going on. And they shared some very interesting messages and visuals around that dynamic. And one thing that I'll share with you is that part of what they showed me was the Aquarius water bearer image, which is the image of an individual pouring water out And it's often confusing because Aquarius is not a water sign, but it is giving the gift of experience, the gift of knowledge, the gift of wisdom, and it's a gift of energy. And what they showed me was how a lot of this water bearer energy of the Aquarius age was poured back into the 3D matrix over this presidential election campaign, and that it's part of our programming, specifically, obviously, in the United States, the programming around elections and what that means, quote unquote. And so they showed me that all this energy, this very high vibrating energy, was poured back into the 3D matrix. And there was no judgment around that. It's just a visual. But what they showed me was that if you could take that energy of the Aquarian age, of the water bearer, and then pour it forward, pour it into where humanity needs to go, pour it into the 5D, that's going to make the best difference right now on the planet, and that's actually where the energy is needed. It's needed to go forward, not to go back into these other matrix energies that are actually self-destructing and coming apart. So that was one of the messages, was to take what you're doing now and move it forward. Move it into the future through your current gifts, your current understanding of yourself, what is coming up for you as a new dream, a new possibility, a new direction, and to move it forward. And they were saying that that's actually the best use of energy at this time. So more to share with you in Friday's episode, but I hope that helps with understanding that what is building up right now could feel intense, could feel heavy and challenging at times, but to call forward your energies from other lifetimes, from other parts of your energetic experience, from other parts of your soul's experience, allow that energy to support you, and also know that going forward, there's going to be some beautiful developments, manifestations, and even dreams coming true as you move into the next chapter. And I guess I'm really referring to when Jupiter and Saturn move into Aquarius. But just know that that's only a month away at this point, and we will be ready for it because it will literally feel like fresh air, like we can finally breathe. There's some new air to work with, to take into our lungs, and to allow it to fill us up. So I hope this has given you some good food for thought, some tools to work with, and some higher understandings around what to do at this time if these messages resonate with you. And keep in mind that you can also take a look at what's coming up for you in 2021 through my new 2021 Soul Growth Astrology program. That's all of the major astrology of next year. And the idea is you follow along in your chart to see where these energies are showing up for you. So it is more intermediate level. And there's 4 different webinars covering the personal planets, including how Mercury will be retrograde in all air signs in 2021. Mars will be direct all year, but is very, very active in January, especially during the inauguration. Venus will be retrograde in late 2021, but it's really important to know what she activates in January of 2021. So see, I'm going to put it together for you so you can get an idea of how the energies will work with you more personally. So check that out and use coupon code 2021 to get it for $21 until the end of this year. So my friends, thank you for joining me as always. Thank you for your presence, your time, your energy. It is a joy to connect with you through the world of astrology. You can find out more about me at mollymccord.online or over at my author website, consciouscoolchic.com. I'll also see you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So have a beautiful week ahead. Take good care of yourself and know that the energies are still intense. They're going to keep moving us forward, but that ultimately you came in with all the tools you need. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next podcast episode soon.